All right, this is Hill TV. We're going to talk about. We were just sitting here having a great conversation about forced integration, and a lot of people have different opinions on should we ever integrate it when Martin Luther King was pushing the integration. So, what is your thoughts on that, on integration, and some people saying we should have our own, Miss Kimberly?
So let me just say, thank you, Javon, for being such a forthcoming movement for what we need spoken to our community. As far as integration, what I would like to address is forced integration. When Martin Luther King and many others who had to make that hard decision about um, replacing us back into the American fabric and the system that so raped and pillaged us for so long, he made the statement. He said, I fear that I'm sending my people into a burning building.
Correct. One of the last ones before he was assassinated.
Yes.
Yes.
Why? Because he knew that there was really no true equality inside integration. Integration only put us in a place where we were the illusion of inclusion and a form of a protection that he knew then it actually became harder to detect racism. If you think about the scenario of uh, gazelles, if you're coming after gazelles and they come in groups, you can always count on the lion to eat.
Right.
So when you place us all in a church that is all black, it's easy to bomb an all black church.
Right.
Because we're all in there.
Right.
But when you do integration, it's very hard for you to kill all black people. So integration sometimes was a
different way to look at it.
A survival tool, not an end all to our issues in the black community. So they had to ask the domestic terrorists to protect us from domestic terrorists.
Terrorists, right. Wow.
And because we hadn't reached a level of going to the United Nations, such as where Malcolm X was on his way to.
Right, to hold them accountable.
Could the United Nations hold America accountable for war crimes and domestic terrorism?
Yes.
We are back at that same notion. January 6, 2021, the insurrection tells us who is protected.
Yep.
And if your own capital is not protected, then you can best believe Asians are not protected, African Americans are not protected, Hispanics are not protected, only white supremacy is protected. None of them on the United States DOJ website are classified as domestic terrorists. So are we being truthful, or we're just hoping that we receive some type of protection from the federal government? Again, forced integration has been one of the most detrimental hindrances of the African American culture. From there, we've lost much of our equity as a people together. We've also lost our sense of culture, and we've been so scattered until it's almost a legal separation. Before we were separate and could ask for certain protections. Now we've integrated, and racism is very hard to prove unless you have a George Floyd issue. You can almost not even prove racism until you see the numbers, until you see the gentrification, until you see the live lynching.
We was talking about economics in the black community, and you were saying economics was always there. And you said before economics, there's something else that's more powerful that comes with economics is value. Can we speak on the value we was talking about earlier?
Sure, absolutely. Most people that I run into, we have these powwows about economics and, black money. Well, black money has always been made, whether we're sitting or whether we're standing. Black money has been made right now in the prison system, whether our young men do anything or not. So economics is not a problem. Values is our problem. And what has happened is America has declared war on Black America. And the war may not be with the guns that they shoot us with, but they suppress and oppress the mind so bad until we actually start killing ourselves.
Yes.
Which is a type of genocide and a form of suicide.
Yep.
Not only that, but the economics is so oppressive and regressive until they exchange our values with a different value system. Crack cocaine. That's biological warfare.
Warfare, yep.
So you integrate a whole nother economic system and then change the values. And so then you'll see somebody selling their bodies for that value system starts getting compromised. You no longer see the families. You no longer see the family unit. What happens is now you can create the foster care system. You have more of a foster care system for blacks than you had back in the 1898 and the 1800s.
Wow.
And that becomes your status quo. And you start grooming your education system, your UNC Chapel Hill students. You spit out white women and black women to become foster care workers. So now you make surrogate systems for African Americans. And then you applaud us when we do something well or when we accomplish a goal. But had we been left alone, like places of 1898, Wilmington, we've always had institutions of learning. We've also always had institutions of development.
There was no child support back then.
No child support.
There was was there, I wonder, that's a good statistic. I wonder in 1898, what was the population in the prison system of black men? I don't think the population, we wasn't the majority back then.
Well, here's the thing. In 1865, we were emancipated.
Right.
And 5 years later, immediately they built our first prison.
Right.
So they changed slavery into the prison system. And so they began to arrest us for any and every little thing. And so prior to 1865 in slavery, you were not allowed to be married. So when we come out hard and strong. We want to be married. We want education. We want our, we were not allowed to read and write.
We wanted our own community.
So we wanted to start building. Now you have to force and pay our people to go to school. You have to give incentives. We have more alternative schools for black children than we have for other cultures.
Wow.
The alternative schools are building at mass production. Why? Because you now have to force us to swallow
education now. Wow.
So our value system has been broken down so much until you've made these surrogate programs and systems that basically strip us of our equity and all of the things that we would surely see if we were left alone.
I heard you say this more than once in this conversation. You said equity. And I think that we don't realize, we think equity is only in material possessions and things. And it's speaking volumes to my spirit right now, and I'm getting chills. Black people, we have equity.
Yes.
Our values, our morals is an asset.
Yes.
You can be an asset on your character and how you treat your mom, how you treat your sister, how you treat your next door neighbor.
Yes.
So we need, like you said, and it starts with, I ain't gonna say it starts with all of us, but I think black men in the community, our women, our community is our reflection. So we can set the tone. And we need more role models like yourself, like me, and others out here to show the youth and show the next generation what equity is, which values, what morals is, what is cool and what's gangster. It's gangster to take care of your mom. It's gangster to take care and walk your sister to school and do nice things and help the next door neighbor clean up her yard. And that's a cool thing to do. Because that's popular. There's equity in that. And we need to popularize that. And that's why Hill TV is so important to have these conversations, because we don't have a lot of media. We don't have a lot of platforms. And people need to know who you are, Mrs. Kimberly. And I value your intelligence. I value your wisdom. And I value your experience, my sister. And I thank you so much for allowing me to come and have this amazing conversation today. I definitely learned from you today. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm pretty sure, guys, this is not going to be the last time we speak. Look forward to us collaborating in the future. This is LTV. Peace.
Peace.